going on, my wild boys? I don't have much of an introduction, so I'm just gonna get right to it. You guys just want to see what the werewolf build is, so let me go ahead and say it and give it to you guys. So starting off, I am an orc. I'm an orc. The reason being is because I have max stamina by 1,000%. My max health is increased by 1,000. When I deal damage, I heal for 2168 health. This can occur once every 4 seconds, so it's always good to have those extra heals. And my weapon and spell damage is increased by 258. And also, I get sprint cost reduction. Reduces the cost of sprint by 12% and increases the movement speed bonus of sprint by 10%. So this is always good to have. So I'm running, let's see, Monostone that I'm running is the Warrior. Running the Warrior so I can get more weapon and spell damage. Obviously more weapon damage than anything. I'm running Warrior's Poet, dual wield, both Nirnhone, 1 weapon and spell damage enchant, and 1 shock damage. I am a sorcerer. I am a sorc. To me, sorc is the best class to have on a werewolf. There's a lot of very good passives that carry over into sorcerer. For example, let's see here. Reduces health, magicka, and stamina costs of my non-core combat abilities by 6%. This is good. Blocking and attack your next health, magic, or stamina ability costs 15%, but I'm not gonna benefit from that because I'm more engaged with Sithis. You can still do it, and so you can get your abilities to cost 15% less. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna be blocking a lot. The other passives that carry over is Power Stone passive from the Daedric Summoning, reduces the cost of your ultimate abilities by 15%, and also increases your max health by 10% if you have a permanent pet active. Increases your max magicka and stamina by 10% if you have no permanent pet active. What does that mean? If I'm a pack leader, I have the 2 direwolves that are summoned. So my health is going to be increased by 10%. If I'm a berserker, I don't have those direwolves, but I will get a 10% increase on my max magicka and stamina. That's always a good passive to have. I really love it. Also, your magicka recovery is increased by 10%. Increases your physical and shock damage by 5%. And increase your damage done against enemies by 1% for every 10% current health that they have. So all these 3 passives carry over into your werewolves. There's a multitude of passives that the Sorc have that carry into werewolves. So it's phenomenal. I like it. Let's go ahead and get into the sets. I'm going to engage the Sithis as my mythic item. It's infused. Everything is tri-stat enchanted. This should be tri-stat, and I'll get into this later. But yeah, this is good because it gives you max health. Health recovery doesn't really matter. It's cut in half in PvP anyways. It gives you 4,000 armor. The only difference and the only bugaboo about it is it reduces your block mitigation to 0. I'm wearing, my shoulder piece is a Krogs heavy. This should be Impen or infused for more health. Health enchant on it. It's always doesn't hurt to have more health. But yeah, and it gives me offensive penetration, obviously. The 5-piece on the body is wretched vitality. And I keep in mind, this is all heavy, so I'm wearing 1 reinforced, or actually I'm wearing 2 reinforced. 2 reinforced. 1 impen, 1 well fitted. 1 impen, 1 well fitted. 1 infused, and actually it should be 2 impen because I really should change this into impen. So this should be impen, this should be impen, 1 infused, 2 reinforced, 1 well fitted. I'm running, I don't know if I mentioned that I'm running Warrior's Poet. I'm running Warrior's Poet. All infused on the jewelry with weapon and spell damage enchants. This gives you max health, 2 lines of armor, max health, and it also gives you minor toughness at all times, decreasing your max health by 10%. The reason why I'm running this is because it makes my Hershey's Fortitude heal so much powerful. So like it makes it just boosts it up like so much. Um, so going into Werewolf, you know, let me see, make sure I'm not missing anything. Warrior's Poet, Wretched, one Crag, one Mythic, dual wield Warrior's Poet. Um, I'm running a bow, but you can run Sword and Board Warrior's Poet if you're in a dicey situation and you want to switch to your back bar and have Werewolf on a back bar. You get more health if you infuse it, or you can reinforce it. I got two just in case. This is gonna be legendary, but one reinforced max magica or one infused max health. Um, you know you get to pick what feels more comfortable for you. Um, yeah, it's both Nernhoned. So let's go ahead and get into the werewolf skills. I'm running Brutal Pounce. It does bleed damage. It does a bleed over time, over 10 seconds, dealing up to 450% more damage to enemies under 100% health, and it increases your weapon spell damage by 100 for each enemy hit up to 6 times. So this is always good. And it also applies the hemorrhage effect when you do the pounce. That's always good. So this is what I was talking about right here. The reason why I have a lot of health. Um, Invoke the Huntsman's Blessing, healing you for 27,760 health. And this is just like a rally, like the two-hand rally heal. Basically a full pally rally heal constantly. It's very good, especially if you have the health needed to power this up. You also get minor endurance and minor fortitude, increasing your health and stamina recovery by 50% for 20 seconds, and while slotted, you gain major brutality and sorcery, increasing weapon and spell damage by 20%. Deafening Roar, this is good because you fear them, and you set them off balance for 7 seconds. You also apply Major Breach and Minor Maim, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 59.48 and damage done by 5% for 10 seconds. And while slotted, you gain Major Protection. And your heavy attacks taunt enemies for 15%. The heavy attack doesn't really, or the taunt doesn't really matter, but the Major Protection is. You get Major Protection, which is, I think, 15% damage reduction. Um, and so the next skill that I'm running is Howl of Agony. I'm gonna tell you guys why. See how this sets your opponent off balance, or any adversary off balance? Well, you run Howl of Agony because you deal 10% more damage to enemies that are terrified, and 10% more damage, 10% more to enemies that are off balance. So I know the tooltip is kind of low, but you still get 20% overall in damage increase when you do this. Um, this is good. This is like this. The werewolf has so much damage modifiers. It's just pretty good. It's just like it's it's up there. You guys, so you guys can run Claws of Anguish if you want for that major defile, but I like to run Claws of Life because if I'm doing AV8 in the Battlegrounds, I like to go up and just swipe everybody and you're healed for 67% of the damage over time caused. So if you go up to a big mob and you hit them all, every person is giving you heals back, like literally. You also get the Z status effect. I think it's minor defile if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'm a pack leader. Not sure if I mentioned that earlier or not, but you know, your max damage is decreased by 30%. You take 10% less damage, and you summon 2 dire wolves. You also get minor courage, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 250%, and while slotted, your stamina recovery is increased by 15%. This is very good because let's go ahead and get into the passives right here. So the dire wolves, your werewolf transformation is increased by 4%. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. When you do damage, your transformation is increased by 4%. You automatically gain Major Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 59.48. And reduce the cost of remaining in your werewolf transformation by 20% for each transformed werewolf or direwolf in your group, including yourself up to a maximum of 80%. So, yeah, werewolf is, to me, it's pretty good. I'm not sure what I'm missing. This is a battleground build, so I'm not sure if CP would matter, but I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you my CP that I have slotted anyways, because this build can work very well in IC and Cyrodiil. So for my champion points, I'm running Foresight, because when you pop a potion, your magicka and stamina healing abilities used within 6 seconds are reduced by 75%. That is including the howl. So if you pop this, your howl will basically cost like, I don't know, like 500 or something. It's very good. I'm running Master at Arms. Increase my damage done with direct damage attack by 3% per stage. 6% damage done. Deadly Aim. Increase your damage done with single target attacks by 3% per stage. 6% damage done. And Untamed Aggression. Increase your weapon and spell damage by 3% per stage. 150 weapon and spell damage. Or you can run Exploiter to very increase your Hall of Agony. So that's, it's 10% added to already the 10% from the off balance and 10% for enemies who are feared. That's 20% in total for off balance damage done to your opponent. Red Tree, I'm running Celerity. This is, I like speed. To me, speed kills. Even on the tanky build, I like to run. I like to run a variety of things. You could also run, if you don't like that, Survival Instincts or Sustained by Suffering, which actually I am about to change that because that should be there. But I'd like to run Celerity. Pain's Refuge. Sustained by Suffering is also a good alternative choice. Fortified gives me 1731 armor, and Boundless Vitality gives me 1400 max health. The green tree doesn't really matter. The only thing that really matters is Steed's Blessing. Gifted Rider, War Mount. It doesn't really matter. Um, okay, let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and add that. And I think that's about it. So if you guys have any questions or anything, get back to you guys as soon as possible. Peace.